So I just did a ridiculously long Beatles song ranking. Way longer than I thought it was when recording. I had no idea. I'm actually just stunned. It took that long. Um, I'm going to do the Jim Morrison albums. I didn't make this list, by the way. Uh, so we're going to cut off to LA Woman. So I just had a mind blank. And I love Who's Scared You, so I'm going to include that as well. Without further ado, break on through to the other side. Incredibly, you know, what sounded like this before this. I guess the closest thing would have been the Rolling Stones, maybe. But it's a pretty hard-edged song. That bossa nova beat is so famous and just integral to the track. Great bass. Jim Morrison's howling vocals. I mean, there was nothing like this before this. So I gotta say it's an A. It's an A for me. Soul Kitchen got a good groove to it. Really kicks off in the chorus. Great lyrics as well. Really shows off Jim's poetry. But for me, I've never been that crazy about it. So I'm going to put it in C. Look, the Doors are my second or third favorite band. I can't decide. So I love every single one of these tracks. Don't get me wrong. I'm just ranking them between each other. So a D would be, for me, like a B or an A for a lot of other bands. The Crystal Ship is a gorgeous song. And that whole piano instrumental bit is jaw-dropping. Psychedelic bliss. What an atmosphere. Just transport you to another world. I think probably the prettiest song they ever did. Without being overly sentimental, you know, like it's still very heady, very psych. So that's an S for me. 20th Century Fox. And look, it's gonna be hard. I'm a big Strange Days fan, so a lot of pre-warning. That's gonna be a lot of my S's. The Doors is a lot of people's favorite Doors album. I've never thought that. I love it. Don't get me wrong, I love it. But for its production, which isn't up to snuff in comparison to the others, I kind of like its rougher production. I think it gels with its atmosphere. I think the issue is it has some absolute fucking knockout tracks. But then there's songs like 20th Century Fox which just don't quite hit the same bar. They seem notably weaker than the rest of me. So it's a good song. I like Jim's vocals. Really, really kind of like, rough. A bit sexual, you know. Still, I think I'm going to put it in a D. Again, if it was any other band, it would probably be a B or an O. Probably an O. I love the Doors. Alabama Song, Whiskey Bar, a cover, which was very unusual for the band. But, they really made it their own, I think. Who would have thought to cover this or to write it or, very inspired. And quintessentially the Doors to me. Just utterly bizarre. And I absolutely love it. It's a bit slightly off-putting, like you feel like you're in danger. Which is how I like my Doors. For me, that's an S. I really love Alabama Song. Light My Fire. Probably one of the most boundary-pushing pop songs ever written. Pop or rock songs. just that whole, I mean, lyrically, of course, Jim's vocal bit is great. Um, who was writing anything like this? But mainly the instrumental. Ray's bit perfect. Robbie's bit perfect. Just utter bliss. Every note is amazing. I wouldn't change a note. So it's another S. Again, this album has just absolute knockout tracks. Backdoor Man, really dirty, bluesy, another cover. Fucking great song. Especially that opening is just pure, like... oh, man. I'm trying to think of the word right now. It's just sex. That's what it is. It's just pure, unadulterated sex. I Looked at You is the sore point on the album. It is very of its time. It is the most dated sounding Doors song to me, by far. So 60s. So it almost sounds... It doesn't sound like Jefferson Airplane. For some reason, it reminds me of Jefferson Airplane. Again, I like it. Don't get me wrong. There's not one song on these 6 albums I don't like. But it is my least favorite Doors song. So it has to be an F. Something has to be an F, right? That's where I'm putting it. End of the Night was for a long time my favorite Doors song. On the other hand, we go from my least favorite to my favorite. Pure psychedelia. I mean, this just defines psychedelia. And I love psychedelic music. The best psychedelic music transport you to another world, and that's exactly what End of the Night does. And listening to that at the end of the night, in the car, just blasting through speakers, is an experience unlike any other. And I will treasure that forever. I don't quite like it as much as I used to. Still, I would feel bad putting it in anything other than an S, because it is a sensational song. Robbie's guitar is so good. It's a hypnotic track. Take It As It Comes, Take It As It Comes, another really good rocker. But it is along the lines of Soul Kitchen, 20th Century Fox, I Looked at You, where it just doesn't quite hit the cut. Make the cut, rather. Really good. I love the bass on this. There seems to be 2 basses. I can't really figure out what the bass is doing, but I love it. Like, it hits so hard. I think it's probably more Soul Kitchen than I Looked at You in terms of quality. Like, it's... yeah. But it is in the middle / bottom half. I think it's my favourite of the 4, though. I think Soul Kitchen is a track that works better live, from what I've heard. The End, along with Light My Fire, but even further, and I would say even quite a bit further, is one of the most... where did this come from kind of thing. One of the most powerful songs I've ever heard. Obviously put to perfect use in Apocalypse Now, which is a phenomenal movie. Again, very kind of doorsy in spirit just because of how trippy it is. One of my favourite movies. I love that movie. And a perfect pick for that movie. Sorry for the chair squeaking. Yeah, just a mega... unlike anything, to think it came out at the right from the get-go of 1967 is unbelievable. I think it's the only song... It's the only song more groundbreaking from that year than A Day in the Life by the Beatles. It's in its own plane of existence. And therefore, it is beyond an S. I think it's one of the most powerful things I've ever heard in my life. And funny enough, I've always liked it, but it's only recently have I just been absolutely enraptured by it. Now, Strange Days in my top 10 albums, I'd say fairly high up. Just this carnivalistic masterpiece. Production still maybe not on the level as these later albums. At least not in terms of recording quality. I think the production is actually as good as it gets. Very well produced. A big improvement upon their debut, I think. But quite a different album. Obviously the same band, but definitely a move to a different kind of direction. And it's much more consistent. Sorry, I like to re-record for each album. Strange Days. Okay. Very trippy track. I love the sound of Jim's vocal on this. Gives it a really unique sound. Yeah, really carnival. It works in mono as well. The mono mix is really cool on this track. I think I actually prefer the mono mix, maybe. Or maybe not. They're both good for different reasons. Yeah, really cool song. I think I'd put an A. I really love it. Your Lost Little Girl is one of the best ballads I've ever heard in my life. Again, just absolutely perfect. These two albums are perfect for night driving. Robbie's guitar. And that guitar solo is like in my top 10 ever. It just totally takes you to a different world. What a beautiful, beautiful song. I think nowadays, besides the end, this is probably my favorite Doors song. But it was always like top 3. It would kill to write a song that's good. A definite S. Love Me Two Times. John Densmore's drumming. No wonder he's like my second favorite drummer, maybe tied first. He's so good. The bass, I love that rocky kind of bouncy bass. The bass player on the Doors albums are fantastic. It's no surprise because it had studio professionals. Obviously with no dedicated bass player in the band. And yeah, it's all over Strange Days as well. Yeah, and the way this song rises, I think throughout Strange Days you find a lot of songs that really increase in intensity as they go. I think the best examples of that are this and My Eyes Have Seen You. They just get heavier and heavier. And they're a pretty heavy band. They really are. I think for their time, they're really heavy. It's an S tier track, for sure. And also, Robbie Krieger wrote that. He wrote Bulk Along My Fire too. Dude was, I think, Jim Morrison's match as a songwriter. I think they are two of my favorite songwriters. But, you know, anyone. Like, I just think, yeah, phenomenal. Unhappy Girl is probably the slightest track on the album. Very poppy. Probably the closest they ever got to the Beatles. Sorry to keep bringing them up. It's still definitely the Doors though. Like it's not them selling out or anything. It's undeniably a Doors track. Robbie Krieger's guitar playing is very unique. It's got the very, you know, so original. Like this and Moonlight Drive, I think, are very original guitar work. I mean, throughout the whole album, but it's just got that really, just nails that carnival kind of feel somehow. Still, it's probably, you know, it is quite a slow track. It's quite short. I love it though. I don't know if it's a C or a B. It's probably a high C, maybe. That's so tough. We'll see how we go. When we get a better idea with the more tracks we put in, we'll edit as we go. Horse Latitudes is not really a song, obviously. It's a sound, not a sound collage. It's a, you know, it's avant-garde is more what it is. I think it's really cool. A lot of people don't like it. I think I think it's really well done. I think it really captures the vibe of the poetry. I think it's really interesting poetry. Definitely paints a picture in your mind. And the fact that it was, you know, recorded in '67, I think is incredible. Still, it's really hard to rank this against all these because it's not a song. I'll put it in C. I really like it, and I like it. I like it more than I used to nowadays. I'm not doing song in order. I'm just gonna do just pure tier list. So I'm not gonna overcomplicate it. Moonlight Drive is one I think I didn't really actually. I've always liked it, of course. Again, I've always liked every Doors song, but now I love it. I can't get enough of it. I love the lyrics. It sounds like a dream come true. And it's so romantic in its own way, not in like a sappy way or a sentimental way. Just in a really cool way. They're such a cool fucking band. And Jim's vocal, Robbie's guitar, classic. I think it's an S. I love it. I love it. People Are Strangers cool. It's very catchy, and so it's a quick one to grab new fans. I think it's no wonder it was, you know, it's one of the most famous songs. Relatable lyrics. I like the kind of. It feels a little like a waltz. I don't think it actually is, but it has that feel to it, which is really cool. Faces come out of the rain when you're strange. No one remembers your name when you're strange. When you're strange. When you're strange. Sorry, I have to. Everybody's gonna hate that if anyone watches these videos. I have to sing it to myself to get reacquainted sometimes. Yeah. It just sounds so good. They just nailed the vibe of this album. They really just hit this perfect sound that just hits me so. Yeah. It's like it was made for me. Fantastic song. I think it's an A. A high A. I think it's the best of these four here. My Eyes Have Seen You is one that I think is unfairly overlooked. These two here, I Can't See Your Face in My Mind as well, I think deserve more credit than they get. My Eyes Have Seen You rocks hard. They're one of the heaviest tracks. And again, I love the way it gets real intense at the end. Yeah, a lot of harmony. I think I did that for Unhappy Girl. Hang on. Let me give these a quick listen. I'm confusing myself. Okay. Gotta say. So I just had to give a quick listen. Unhappy Girl. Great intro. Love what Robbie's doing on the keys. The interplay on My Eyes Have Seen You between the band is fantastic. Everyone's bouncing off each other just beautifully. I think it's another A. There would have been a time I would have put an S. I really love it. I've always loved it. I Can't See Your Face in My Mind is such a mood. Oh my god. Nothing sounds like this. It just sounds like... You know... My god, how do you describe it? It's like, you know, you in a little remote community by the river at night. No mobile phones, you know, no internet. It's just you with your family and close friends, and you know the whole community knows. Kind of like a caravan club kind of thing. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know. How do you put it into words? They just hit such a unique feel on the song, and I love it. I can understand why it might be a bit boring to some people, but I think there's plenty happening in the song that makes it really interesting. Total vibe. I think it's an S. Absolutely love it. When the music's over is, I used to like it a lot more the end. Now I feel the opposite. I think of the two kind of magnum opuses they have, the end is far superior. However, I love when the music's over. I love it live. I think it gets a bit too brash at times for my taste. Is that the word I'm looking for? In a noisy or overbearing way. I suppose that's it. There are bits where it really builds, and it's cool, it's powerful, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't change it, because it's unique, it's its own thing, and it captures its own feel, and I appreciate it for that. But there are other tracks I like more. There are, yeah, bits where it is a bit overbearing. It's tongue-in-cheek, but isn't obvious about it at times. Like, it sounds like it takes itself very seriously. Jim Morrison had a great sense of humour, but I don't think that often shows in the songs. Hence, why he had the image that he had. Because it sounds like he's taking himself seriously while saying these ridiculous things. The butterfly bit is the bit I'm thinking of. But I feel like there are other moments as well. Not many. Don't get me wrong. Like, I love this band. I love Jim. And I wouldn't change a thing, because it's the Doors. And it's art. So I probably sound really pretentious. I can't help it. I adore this stuff. Probably for me, it's a B. Now, waiting for the sun. From my favourite album to my least favourite. So, Hello I Love You was definitely their shot at the pop bracket. Although they say they didn't really know which one was going to be the single off the album. I don't see how they couldn't have known. To me, it's really obvious that this is the catchy hit. Sounds like that's what they were going for. So, I don't know, I'm a little iffy about that. Another thing I disagree with is the idea that it sounds like it's ripping off the Kings. Big Kings fan. I don't think so. I get what they're saying. There are similarities for sure. It's hard to deny the similarities. But there are so many differences. It goes in a whole different direction. The Kings could never have written this. It's that riff, but that riff is not completely derivative. I think people were really exaggerating the similarities between the two. In terms of calling it like plagiarism. It's not plagiarism. I don't think. That being said, I'm not a fan of the song. It's possibly my second least favourite Doors song. I think I Looked at You more nowadays. I don't know why. Maybe it's the ending. It gets a bit too much as well. A bit loud and noisy. That's definitely part of it. Great lyrics, but I don't know. It's just a bit too bubblegum. But then I feel bad saying that, because it's like Love Street is kind of bubblegum, and I love that song. So I don't know what it is. It's just one of those things. I can't put into words, but not crazy about it. It's an F for me, and it's probably going to annoy some people, but whatever. Love Street, on the other hand, is a gorgeous melody. I love the spoken word bit. It's just classic. Gorgeous piano playing. I haven't really mentioned Ray's musicianship enough yet, but it speaks for itself. And I'm a sucker for a piano ballad, and this is that, just perfect. Really beautiful feel, and just paints that picture of the street in your head. And it's probably the most overtly romantic song as well. They've got a few on this album, actually, or a couple at least, but yeah, no, a few. Yeah, I love it. Really rate it. Not to Touch the Earth. Really unique, really creative. And I definitely admire it for that. I do wish they had the time to make the whole I can't even remember what it was going to be called. the whole suite that they were going to do with this incorporated. I wish they had the time to really make that, to finalize that. But still, like, I really like this as its own little thing. Some really interesting words on it as well. Not to touch the earth, not to see the sun, nothing left to do but run, run, run. Let's run. Yeah, sorry, have to. House up on a hill. It's probably a B tier track for me. It's, yeah, cool. Some was almost gone as one I didn't care that much for when I first got into the Doors, but now I love it. Moon burns gold into her hair. What a great lyric. Really well sung as well. Gorgeous melody. And really nice, laid back, romantic, sunny vibe. Like, it really captures the art of the album as well, the cover. Summer's almost gone. Yeah, really cool. Sorry, I know I can't sing it, I just have to do it for my own sake. I'll try not anymore. Wintertime Love is so lightweight. It's a good song, again. But it is very pop. It sounds a bit like filler. Not a word I use often, but that's how it comes across to me, is it just sounds like they just needed a song. And kind of just, they went, "What you got, Jim?" And he's like, "I got this one. Alright, we'll use it. We'll take it." That's kind of like how it comes across to me. I like the little theme we've got of the season too. It's good. It's fine. It's cute. It's definitely got its attraction. It's probably an F. Nah, it's a bit better than that. It's a D, I think. And now, but then 20th Century Fox, I think, is way better. So it's really tough. Anyway, The Unknown Soldier, actually a really big hit for them. I think it was, number 1? Which is just unbelievable to me. I think that just goes to show what kind of world they were living in 1968. Imagine this hitting number 1 on the charts today. It's just unfathomable. Or in the 90s or whatever. Like, it's just unreal. I don't know if it actually was number 1, but I think it was one of the biggest hits. It's just unbelievable. It's interesting more than it is enjoyable, I think. Again, I really admire the creativity of it. All the sound effects and whatever. But I've never thought that much of it. I think it's a low C. High D. It's really on the precipice there. Spanish Caravan is gorgeous. I love the guitar. Love the words. I don't know what the effect they use is, but it's really trippy. That swirling effect, I just adore. Love Jim's vocals, so low, so baritone. Take me to Portugal, take me to Spain. Yeah, such a cool track. I don't know if it's quite an S though. Andalusia with it's a quintessential Doors track to me. I don't know who else would have written something like this. I think it's a very high A. Yeah. My Wild Love. It's cool. It's a bit novel though. Kind of a sing-along, get high and, sit in a circle kind of thing. Exactly like what they did in the movie. But I think like that feeling just speaks for itself. It's cool. I like it, and I probably like it more than I looked at You and Hello, I Love You. But I think it's still probably an F. Or is it a low D? I think it's an F. It's just a bit too novel. I think there's not that much, musical depth really to it. But it's cool and it's a unique atmosphere. We Could Be So Good Together is another one I've never really thought that much of. It sounds, again, kind of like filler, is how it comes across to me. Swear I don't usually use that word, but that's, it's just how it feels. Tell me lies, tell you wicked lies, tell you lies, tell you wicked lies, na 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 na. Sorry, I have to do it. Said I wouldn't, but I lied. It's really catchy, but it just seems, I don't know, like underdeveloped or something. Pretty weak. It's probably a low D, I think. I think it's better than Wintertime Love. No, they're about on par. I think they're really probably equal. Yes, The River Knows is one people seem to either love or just not think anything of at all. I think it's absolutely stunning. Some of my favourite guitar playing by Robbie is so beautiful. So beautiful. But just a gorgeous ballad, and Jim sings it so well. So tough. It's, again, teetering on an S. I just don't know if it's quite there. I think it's a very high A. But it is beautiful. 5-1, hard rocking, dirty, political, politically charged kind of track. A bit obscure as to what, or abstract rather, as to what it's referring to. But it makes more sense once you know, or at least the theory behind it. I don't know if it's confirmed as much. Jim sings this incredibly. I don't know how he did it. I've never heard anyone sing like this. I'm sure people have drawn a lot of influence from it since. But, who was singing like this in the 60s? Unreal. And John's drumming is awesome too. Really thunderous. I think it's an A. So, kind of all over the place. That's how I feel about Waiting for the Sun. You got some really high points, but only one that I would say is outright some of these are classics, but like top of the top. And then you got some that are really just not that great, but I love all of it. And I think the other thing I don't like that much about Waiting for the Sun is the production. I've always thought it kind of sounds a bit dry or something, a bit. I don't know, like Strange Days, and to a lesser extent the debut, have this really they have this glistening kind of sound to it. I don't know, how do you put the stuff into words? It's ridiculous. But that's the best way I can do it. Whereas Waiting for the Sun sounds just a bit dry and a bit bare in a way I don't like that much. And it works for some tracks, but others, And I've always felt that way. And then I bought the fairly recent Rhino box set on vinyl, mastered by Kevin Gray. And I read the liner notes, and they said something a bit to that exact line. Like, it was, I think the studio they were recording in was not what they wanted, and they really struggled to get the sound they wanted out of that album. I think it was really quite a tormenting sessions for them. Still, it sounds good. It's not a bad sounding album. Not at all. It's just the tone of it, if that makes sense. The style of the production. But I think they made the most of it, from the sounds of it. I think there's still some really cool production efforts on that album. And yeah, Spanish Caravan is a great example of that. My Wild Love, yeah, that's Waiting for the Sun. Not bad for my least for Outdoors album. Before we move on to the Soft Parade, I just listened to Yes, the River Knows again. Nah, that's a perfect song. Everybody's giving it their best. It's so tasteful. And I think John Densmore's drumming is the best example of that. So tasteful, but so great punctuation, Raised piano. Yeah, nah, it's an S tier song. Now I'm satisfied. The Soft Parade, very controversial album at the bottom of a lot of people's Doors rankings for albums. I think they captured something really unique and special with this album. Maybe not one I appreciate as much as others. It is my second least favourite, but I still love it. And it's probably one of the ones I listen to the most. This and LA Woman. I mean, all of them. They're all probably my most listened to albums by anyone. But especially the Soft Parade and LA Woman. I think there are just tracks on here that hit something, hit a side of them you don't really hear, at least to its full extent, elsewhere, and certainly not by anyone else that I've heard. I don't mind the orchestration. I don't think they're the best arrangements in the world. I definitely, I think Love were doing a lot better with orchestration than the Beatles. Still, I love orchestration in my rock, so that's not an issue for me at all. Always have. I'm probably, favoured to it, if anything. But the whole shaman thing, I think they caught best on this. Like, a lot of it just feels like being in the wild. And just kind of, I don't know, taking peyote or something. I'm not a druggie, but that's just how it comes across. And a bit ancient and mysterious. Anyway, come on, what's pretension? You got to accept a bit of pretension in a Doors ranking. Tell the People, great poppy track. Tell all the people that you see, follow me down. You don't have to run, we're gonna pick up everyone. Yeah, really cool. Again, I'm not actually that crazy about the arrangement for the brass on this. It's probably a low A, high B. I'll do a low A for it. Good melody, definitely a different direction to everything we've heard before. But I don't see how it sounds like they're sold out. To me, it's still... This is another side of the Doors. Like, I mean, you can't stay doing the same thing forever. And so, thank God they kept moving. They really kept moving. And I respect the hell out of them for that. Touch Me is a sensational song. The sax solo is one of my favourite things in music. Jim sings it so well. John's drumming is incredible. Just so what the song needed. Like, he just knew exactly what to play. And Robbie's guitar is really cool as well. Regardless of how you feel about Rick Beato, I urge you to watch the video he did breaking down the song. I think it's brilliant, speaks for itself, but that certainly helps appreciate the individual elements. Robbie's guitar is, I don't think I realised just how cool it is. His little bit is, he's a really creative guitarist, I think. I love Robbie. Definitely one of my favourites. S tier track for me. Love Touch Me. It's a great karaoke song as well. Come on, come on, come on. You just scream it. So cool. Shaman's Blues is where we start to go a little downhill. It's a bit meandering, I suppose. not the catchiest for a band full of absolutely chock full of really catchy melodies. Shaman's Blues is not one of those, but it does hit that unique vibe that I've not heard anywhere else. Off in the Wilderness, kind of slightly ominous kind of sound. I'm gonna give it a quick listen. Utterly bizarre track. Not in an overt way, I suppose, but I mean, it's just one of a kind. I think it's a B tier track. I think it's really cool, really unique. Well, got 3 different tiers in a row. Yeah, Robbie's guitar is really cool too. Do It, very repetitive. This was one of my absolute favorites when I first got into the band. I fondly remember listening to this. Very simple words. Dun, 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 dun. I love that kind of feel to it. Please me, please, you are the ones who will rule the world. Yeah. Cool. Doesn't really say too much musically or lyrically. But I appreciate it for what it is. Not everything needs to be ultra complex or, sometimes you just lay down into a groove and just let loose, and that's kind of what this is. And, I like it for that. Easy ride. I have to give a quick listen as well. I don't know what you'd call it, whether it's like a bit country or bluegrass or something. I don't know what you'd call Easy Ride. But it's just a bit of, it's just a bit of a jig. I can imagine just like locking arms with people and just kind of, bouncing around the place drunk. So, probably the Soft Parade. Never been a favourite of mine. I think I like the outro. That kind of kind of just fades out. I think that's the coolest bit of the song. Jim sings it well, of course. Jim's my favourite vocalist, so, a bit biased. It's probably an F tier track. Wild Child, oh, what a great riff. And then John plays off that riff perfectly. Just pure musicianship. Oh my god. And then a great song, behind it. Got a nice edge to it. Wild child, full of grace. Yeah, great lyrics. So the Soft Road. Like, it's kind of Shaman's Blues, but a bit more focused, in a sense. A bit rockier too. Yeah, really, really strong track. Running Blues, kind of along the side of Easy Ride, but I think it's a lot better. Robbie's one and only vocal. The only lead vocal besides Jim in the entire 6 albums. Does a fine job. He's, it's not a serious song at all, so it's fine. Poor oldest dead and gone, left me here to sing this song. I like the intro bit. I think that's the coolest bit. And then it totally goes into something else. Back to LA. Alright, look at my shoe. Yeah, that's kind of bluegrass, I think, the chorus. Yeah, I think it's a cool little song. But definitely not a classic. It's probably a C. Wishful Sinful. Kind of reminds me of something like... The orchestration on it reminds me of something like Phil Spector would have done, or something like that. Nice ballad. Quite beautiful, but just maybe a bit cheesy. But I think it's still great. I love the outro as well. It really builds and then just slowly falls with that guitar bit, the bass, whatever it is. Our love is beautiful to see. I know where I would like to be. right back where I came. Yeah, a lot of really cool bits. The way it lifts and then descends, really cool. A lot to appreciate. Really, really good songwriting. Gotta put an A, I think. Probably a low A, but it's still an A. Oh man. Or is it a B? Maybe it's a B. I think it's a high B. Ah, so tough. Soft Parade. I like it. I don't love it. I think the best bits go by too quickly. I think the worst bits go on too long. It's definitely got that kind of. It's very LA, very Los Angeles. You can just kind of imagine driving down the road with the pine trees and everything. Very odd lyrics. I feel like Jim's, I said earlier, Jim's sense of humor isn't often on display on Doors songs. This album, actually, Run and Blue, a good example. Easy Ride as well. It is the exception, and this song as well, The Soft Parade. Definitely very light-hearted and tongue-in-cheek, and I appreciate it for that as well. Shows another side to the band, which I love that. That being said, I want to say I don't think I can do much higher than a C. I think that might be where I have to put it. I think it just kind of, and I think it always gets to a point where it kind of loses steam a bit. And for a song with so many bits in it, portions in it, those portions go by pretty quick. Again, except for the worst bits. That's just my personal feelings on it, of course. Still, good track. And that is it for The Soft Parade. Good album. I really appreciate it for what it is. Not a perfect album, but I still think it's strong. It's got your highs, it's got your lows, but probably a little more consistent than... I do definitely feel like it's more consistent than Soft Parade overall. I feel like even these... Like, it's probably low A, and then a high B, and then high C's. Maybe not, maybe middle C's. So yeah, even the ones in the middle here are still kind of bunched up within that. And then an A really isn't that far from an S either. Anyway, overthinking it, but Morrison Hotel next. Just quickly regarding Soft Parade. Great bass line through it. It's the last bit. There's not really that many bits, segments of the song. But that last bit, I think, goes on a bit too often, too long. I mean, I also find the intro a little hard to listen to. I don't know. I get a bit of secondhand embarrassment a bit from it, but only in mixed company. But that's probably just my own insecurity rather than the music. I'm so tired. I don't know. You can probably hear it. I'm fucked. Okay. I'll do Morrison Hotel and LA Woman the next day. But yeah. Baseline is a ripper. I should listen. I mean, I just take it for granted because I know these albums so fucking well, but it still doesn't hurt. You always remember things when you actually play the song, actually listen to it. Because I'm not, I'm 99% of the time for this and the Beatles list. I'm just doing from memory. I can hum it to myself, perfect, pretty much. But again, it's a bit different. The individual elements stick out a bit more in your mind when you're actually listening to it. So I probably should do that because they can really elevate the tracks, but still, I don't think this list would change much, if at all, if I had done that. But I might actually listen to the Soft Parade now because it's been too long. So anyway, we'll get back to it. Morrison Hotel tomorrow. You're not going to notice any difference, except that I told you. So see you in 2 seconds. Okay, so before we move on to Morrison Hotel, I want to make some minor adjustments here. In between this and the ranking of the Soft Parade, I did give side A of the debut a listen, and I came away with the conclusion that it is Soul Kitchen that is the D tier. Sorry to say. 20th Century Fox, better than I gave it credit for. There's some really cool bass on this song that I think actually elevates it a bit. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Morrison Hotel. This is a classic album. It's the look, even the Soft Parade to me is, classic worthy. Hell, even Waiting for the Sun is just a fantastic album to me, and those are my two least favorites. But Morrison Hotel just screams classic. Like, it is a classic album. I do think it's probably greater than the sum of its parts, weirdly enough. But still, across the board, just, fantastic. Roadhouse Blues was the hit on the album, of course. It is just... Let me just adjust my mic here, sorry, real quick. Just whacked my turntable with it, that's helpful. Classic kind of... just nails the vibe of... just sculling beers and, lazing around at bars and talking shit kind of thing, which is something I can't relate to at all because I hate beer. But, the impression serves the point anyway. Classic song, great harmonica, I don't know who plays it. That riff is fantastic. The guitar on this album sounds so heavy. They really recorded it well. I think it's a big improvement upon Soft Parade and Waiting for the Sun, the recording on this album. Sounds fantastic. And the guitars are just so meaty. So definite S tier track. I know we got a lot of them going, but they got a lot of classic tracks, so excuse me. Waiting for the Sun, oddly enough, not on the album, but on 2 records later. This was my favorite Doors song at one point as well. It just gets so fucking intense, and the band is loud and raucous, especially at the end. And man, it's been a long time since I've heard it, but I remember it pretty well. Yeah, just pure intensity. I think it's one of the most intense tracks. The fact that it's kind of tucked away just as the second track is kind of an odd decision, I think. But it doesn't feel jarring in the moment per se. But yeah, another S tier song, just absolutely incredible, dynamite. Really explosive kind of track. Put that there. You Make Me Real is kind of just a good, fun, blues rocker. Nice howling vocals by Jim. Not particularly memorable. I think it is the least impressionable track on the album. Probably one of the least impressionable tracks they ever did. That being said, I still like it more than some of these here. I just really like the feel of it. Like, it doesn't have a lot to say, I feel like, and it's not, wholly unique or anything. But I actually really appreciate it for just what it is. I just think it's just a cool song. Very confident, whereas some of these tracks, I feel like they're missing something, or they sound a bit awkward or something. Like, We Could Be So Good Together, it just feels underdeveloped, as I mentioned. You Make Me Real, while it's probably not far from this level, it definitely sounds more confident, more polished. It doesn't sound like it's missing anything, it's just not, the most miraculous idea in the world. So I think it's a C tier track. Even I'd put it above like a lot of these as well. It's a good song that I'd underrated for quite a long time, I think. Peace Frog is probably the funkiest song they ever did, although The Changeling would be up there as well. Just impeccable groove. Everything about the song is utter perfection. The whole, that lore bit with the poetry of the... how does it go again? Fragile eggshell mind. Well, I can't remember. I've heard the song. I promise. I probably sound like a fake fan. I haven't listened to the Doors in a while, but they are my second most listened to band ever. So I know this shit well. Trust me, it's just been a little while, but the song is killer, top tier Doors. Another S. There will be a few on this album. Yeah. I think it's a high S. It is like top 3 or 4. Every time I play it, I'm like, fuck yeah. Transitions into Blue Sunday. Great lyrics as well. Total Los Angeles kind of. Yeah. Anyway. Transition to Blue Sunday. A ballad that's not really ever done that much for me. It's pretty... I like the solo on it as well. And it's very kind of bluesy, a bit jazzy as well. It's nice. Again, they sound really confident on this album. Whereas I feel like there are moments on Waiting for the Sun they don't as much. Still, it's just never meant that much to me. Like, it's good. I like singing along to it, but can't really put it much higher than a D, to be honest. And I think that will be controversial. I think a lot of people do quite like Blue Sunday. It's a fun song. Ship of Fools is a good track. These two I feel like really, belong together. Ship of Fools, Land Ho, similar theme, obviously. But just kind of similar sound as well. Grandma loved a sailor who sailed a frozen sea. Do 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 do. Land ho! I love that when he screams. I'm thinking of Land ho. Fuck. Let me give it a quick listen. I can't believe I even have to do this. Such a cool song. Oh my gosh. I know these songs so well. I promise you I know them well. I'm just being stupid. What a great song. I love that tonal shift. Yeah, along came Mr. Get You. Forget you. Come on, people, better climb on board. That whole bit is just fantastic. Ship of fools, ship of fools. The drums carry the song as well. John is kicking off. I think this is the best collection of musicians in 60s rock. Hands down. The way they play off each other is just something to behold. And these two songs are so catchy. Some of their catchiest tracks. In a band absolutely chock full of catchy melodies. I'm praising it to hell and back, and yet I think I can only put it B. How crazy is that? Nah, it's gotta be an A. It's gotta be an A. I don't know. It's like one I've never really thought as a classic, but it kind of is. It is actually just a fantastic song. Lan Ho. I'll give that a quick listen to. Yeah, really similar, I feel like, to Ship of Fools. Maybe not quite as good, but they're very close. Again, it's got that tonal shift. I've got 3 ships and 60 men. 4 ports on breast. Stand at mast at north winds blow. 2 half of us are dead. Land ho! It's just so good. And the I don't know what you call that drum beat, the triplet kind of thing. The galloping kind of beat that you hear on, stuff like Get Back as well. I love that. Yeah, again, just the drums really just, carry it forward in a really cool way. It's probably just a tier, but I think that is a B tier. For some reason, those are two of the same kind of tracks to me. They're not. They are similar, but they're not. They're not identical. So I don't know. The Spy is really cool, really bluesy kind of. Frank Sinatra kind of track. I don't think he would have sung like that lyrically, but musically, I feel like it's kind of down that avenue, very, very jazz inspired. Love Jim's vocal on this. Nobody else could have sung this like Jim does. It's such a great vocal. I've always really liked this, and great guitar riff as well. This is a really riff heavy album. A lot of just fantastic riffs on this. Always really rated The Spy. That's an A tier track for moi. Queen of the Highway is probably their catchiest song. Every time I hear it, it is stuck in my head for days. Really fun to sing along to, kind of autobiographical lyrics, which is unusual for Jim, I feel like, to write. Kind of just this, romantic dream. But it's actually got quite a bit of hesitance to it. Yeah, really jazzy. I love the jazz version on the Behind Closed Doors compilation as well. I think it's really cool. Just accentuates the jazz elements of the studio final track. Really goes all in. So it's cool that they played with the arrangement here, or I don't know if that was just for fun, maybe. Yeah, both versions are gorgeous. Kind of just an idealistic, very Americana kind of song. I don't know. It's just great. Got to say, it's another S tier. This album's doing better than I thought with the S tiers. There are a lot of, maybe it's not an S tier. She was a princess, queen of the highway. Sign on the road said, take us to Monterey. It's probably high A, maybe. Oh, so many good songs on this album. Indian Summer is probably the second last psychedelic track they did. A style they kind of, moved on from with the last three albums. But it was always there in the background. The influence was always there, their history. And, the song stems from as far back in recording, at least, as 1966. I think actually the vocal may be from 66 still, and then with a new instrumental. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Beautiful song, really subdued. Again, kind of subtly reminds me of Blue Sunday, but it's a lot hazier. It definitely has a trippy aspect to it that Blue Sunday doesn't. Yeah, definitely a good feel to it, although I do like their other psychedelic tracks more. I'd probably put it in B, I think. But yeah, cool song. Last but not least, Maggie McGill. What a fucking great song. Oh man. Heavy. Real heavy. Just has absolute balls to it. Balls to the fucking wall. And that lyric, Mum met Dad in the back of a rock and roll car, is unforgettable. It's just one of those things in the context of the music and the delivery and, everything about it is just a magical line. And I'll tell you, I remember went to a Doors tribute concert. Tribute concerts I don't usually like, but, I was desperate to see the Doors live in some capacity, or hear the Doors live. I actually ended up in the best night of my life, my entire life. And I remember at one point, people were just screaming for songs. And me and some other guy, probably in his 40s, early 50s maybe, I think more 40s, were just shouting, Maggie McGill, play Maggie McGill! And he said the exact same thing. It was like, man, we were just talking to us two, and it was like, man, I fucking love that line. Mum met dad back rock. I was like, dude, what the fuck? That's my favorite bit too. You know, it's just one of those classic bonding moments. Yeah, sensational little song, great heavy bass to it as well. Totally a vibe. No one's writing stuff like this. Just bluesy and dirty. Very cool. Definite S. One of my favorite Doors tracks. And that is Morrison Hotel. I'm going to give a very quick listen to a few tracks. Again, as soon as I hear them, I'm like, oh, you do, because I've heard them hundreds of times over. But I'm finding I'm having to kind of like sing the tunes to out loud, just to remind myself. But that's okay. So I will do that very quickly. Yeah, just gave a couple songs a listen from Morrison Hotel to make sure they were where they belong. And they are. Like, The Spy is a close S. I love the piano all over it. Again, I'm not giving nearly enough credit to Ray's playing throughout this list. It's just, there is no Doors without Ray, but there's no Doors without John or Robbie either. I hate when people say the Doors consists of any given or collection of members other than all four. Because to me, you take any out of the equation, it is not the fucking Doors. Jim, obviously, you know, is the voice, is the lead writer. I can kind of forgive people for saying that, but again, without Robbie, Ray, and John, those songs would be very fucking different. So to say that, you know, the Doors is anything other than all four, I think is, you know, kind of crazy. Anyway, tangent aside, LA Woman. This is the last of the 6. Unfortunately, I'm going to quickly do Who Scared You because I should have done it at the Soft Parade because I think it was the 69 song. Really cool little song. Goes through like 3 different stages or has 3 distinct portions of it, I feel. Which is really cool. And I just realised, I don't actually know You Need Me, Don't Go No Further. Is that the B-side to Who Scared You? Or is Who Scared You the B-side to one of these? I actually don't know. You Need Me, Don't Go No Further. Let me... Because if they're singles but just non-album tracks, I need to... Don't mind me. What? The B-side to Love Her Madly. See, what the fuck? How do I not know that? I feel like it's such a fake fan. Oh my gosh. Okay, and then you... Who Scared You? You Scared You. Who Scared You? Children's music? Okay, is there I just want to know what. The B-side to what? AI, help me. Quick. To Wishful Sinful. Jesus, touch me. Okay, was that what, a double A side? Wait, what? I'm so confused. Anyway, if these are canonical Doors songs and not just... What the fuck is Tree Trunk? And not just after stuff. I thought they were shelved for compilations. I thought they just never made it. That's always the impression I've had from these two. Okay, You Need Me, Don't Go No Further. I'm not that familiar with. I've never liked it though. Ray sings it, doesn't he? I have heard it a few times because I used to listen to Behind Closed Doors quite a bit. I think to do it justice, I will give it a listen. I think it's an F, but let me double check that. Okay, so classic example. Where would the Doors be? Where would Jim be without, for example, John Densmore. Who Scared You? Loaf your hair, blow it up, feeling good, baby. Like, John's following that lyric and just accentuating it, playing off it. That vocal. Great song. I love the sound of the drums on that track. And just a very catchy beat as well. Like, impossible not to tap along to. I love Who Scared You. I've always loved Who Scared You. Hey, You Need Me, don't go no further. Unfortunately, I don't like Ray's vocals. No disrespect to the late, great Ray Manzarek. But I've never been a fan of his vocals. Even in harmony, I don't think I like his vocals. Like backing Jim. So it's a definite F tier. I don't feel bad that it is the only Doors song I never listen to. It's because I completely forget it exists. Just a straight blues track as well. It's a cover. Not that there's anything wrong with that. They did a couple blues covers. But, yeah. Nothing special. It's certainly not done justice, I think, by Ray's vocal, I'm sorry to say. Each to their own. Okay, The Changeling. Again, funky. I love... Just an impeccable groove. I love Jim's howling at the end. It sounds like Funky Town way before Funky Town. Like, it's just so funky, and I love a bit of funk. Love a song with a good groove. So that's an S tier track. Yeah, and then Jim's howling on it is just so good. Don't you love her madly? Great, just karaoke at a bar kind of track, like the ultimate kind of karaoke song. Love her madly. Kind of good honky tonk kind of drive to it. Yeah, really, really cool song. I love LA Woman so much. Again, it's my second favorite Doors album. It's funny, people who like LA Woman the most tend to put Strange Days behind it, and people who like Strange Days tend to put LA Woman behind it, as in favourites, which is unusual because you'd think it'd be LA Woman and Morrison Hotel. They definitely share the same DNA, whereas these two don't. Just something I've noticed. Could be coincidence. That's an A tier track. What a great song. I've been down so goddamn long. I love just shredding my voice to this song. And it looks like up to me. Throughout this album, but especially on these blues tracks, which some people seem to not really care that much for, which is just unbelievable to me. No one does the blues better for me than The Doors. And this is the only album I could call a blues album too. There is enough on it to actually, I think, to call it a blues album. And this is one of the three outright blues tracks. And I think it is the best of the three as well. Absolute howler. Again, they're so good at raising the intensity and the volume and just going all out by the end. Oh man, that ST is getting long, but what can I say? Second favorite band ever, or third. Yeah, Ray's guitar is so gritty on this album too. These three tracks, just heavy. Car sits by my window, strips it right back, pulls it right back. It's just, it gets whisper quiet at times. I love the feel of this, the picture it paints in my head of just, headlight on my window, shining on my wall. Headlight through my window, shining on my wall. Like, it's just such a great... He was so good at that. So good at that. Just painting these, pictures in your head. I love when he sings along to the... He does his own kind of guitar solo. So good. Oh, man. I really struggle not putting this in S. Look, it's probably not quite as good as all these tracks. Um, but what a fucking great song. It's close. What can I say? It is so close. S and A are really close. Oh, it's probably like there. All there. Maybe it's Behind My Eyes, I've Seen You. And yeah, I think that's what it's second to. But otherwise, it's, top of A. So I love it. I cannot get enough of these blues tracks. And I wish there were, Cream is probably the other band that gets really heavy with the blues. I mean, obviously, there's heaps out there, but Rolling Stones, I guess. But I just find these guys are kind of next level. LA Woman, the ultimate road trip song, as someone once described it, and I totally agree. Like, it is just perfect for driving. Again, great words on this. That's repetitive, but he was a great lyricist. One of the best, I think. Great vibes to it. I probably like the words as much as the music, and I'm definitely a music first kind of guy. I'm actually finding nowadays I don't even pay attention to words that much in a lot of music that I discover for the first time. I just don't care that much. But I used to be more interested in lyrics. But anyway, I have to say I do really like it. Don't get me wrong, and it's such a great, fun song. It's just that vibe I think really carries it. But I think I have to put it in beat. Like I've never been in love with it. I just want to double check some of these as well. Like Ship of Fools, maybe I can't put that A. It would be a high A, but it's not quite on the same level as these. L'America's really cool. It's the last trippy song they ever did. The only one on the album I would call trippy as well. Kind of hypnotic feel to it, really dark and eerie. I remember I was getting high with some of my family. My auntie, I think we were listening to LA Woman, it kind of got to this song and she was like, nah, turn it off, like it was too much. Good fun. It really just, it was really good at just like small town kind of feel of just a bunch of interesting characters. And this is that, like it feels like really ancient Americana, or not ancient because Americana can't be that old, but old Americana fables or tales rather. I don't know. I'm talking out of my ass. What can I say? Like, it's a really cool song. I love the eeriness of it. It offers the album a different dimension. I think it flows well into Hyacinth House, which is really just a chill track. It's not a favorite for me, but it is a cool song. So I'd probably put that in B as well. And yeah, we're getting a few more B's in now. Hyacinth House, really catchy, one of the catchiest songs. It's a bit like oddly touching. One thing I love about the 70s and 60s, most of the 70s, is a lack of melodrama. Like it, and this kind of goes for a lot of media, but I get just the impression that things weren't overly sappy. Like it wouldn't really draw on emotion. I'm talking about all media, movies, music, everything. Or at least, in rock. It wasn't over the top with its sorrow. And it wasn't, it's not like it's trying to pluck at your heartstrings, it just does. It's just a cultural thing, I feel like, and that's represented in the song. Like, it is touching when you think about it, and when you listen to the words and the delivery of it, but it's not whacking you over the head like, I want you to feel sad, Again, I'm probably talking out of my ass. I'm probably, it's a good song. I don't think it's particularly anything special, but I do really enjoy it. And again, another dimension to the album. I appreciate a nice break from kind of the blues and the groovy tracks like LA Woman, Love Her Matter, Interchangeable, which is a bit more upbeat and, yeah, a bit funky. So probably another B tier track. Maybe even a C. I think it's probably more a C. But it's a strong C. Crawling King Snake is the last of the blues trio. I'd say they're probably the only blues, like outright blues tracks since the debut album with Backdoor Man. Yeah. And it kind of more alongside Been Down So Long, where it's kind of just a howler. And again, Robbie's tearing it up on guitar. Really cool track. Probably my least favorite of the three. But still really cool. Again, they were the best band I've ever heard at rising with that intensity. King Crimson do that really well, but in a totally different way. I don't even know if they were, it was a conscious decision or they just kind of naturally went that direction, or both. But yeah, they nailed it every time. So it's another A tier track for me. Okay, The Wasp, Texas Radio and the Big Beat. I tell you this, classic Doors. Oh my god, one of my favorite musical bits in history is the percussion solo. Now listen to this, I'll tell you about. Awesome words. Has that kind of, yeah, that mystical, very, man. Jim was totally a spiritual being. And I think no band, not even close, no band I've heard has that spirituality to it like the Doors. You can hear it in this. It is just it's so in a sense primitive because it's so rhythm driven, this track. Like, it's not melodic. It's mostly a spoken word. So cool. No one could have played this like the Doors. No one could have written this but Jim. It's an S tier track for me. And Riders on the Storm, let's cap it off. Let's make it excuse me, nice and quick. One was nice and quick until I choked to death. One of the most timeless tracks ever written. Incredible atmosphere. Everyone is. Some of these parts are just genius to me. Again, wonderful lyrics. I think some of Jim's Jim's words on this album are his best. Consistently. Yeah, just locked into that specific atmosphere. Ray's piano playing is glorious. Robbie's guitar is just perfect. So sweet. And then John's just keeping it steady. Excuse me, I don't know what's going on. John's just locked in, keeping it steady, keeping it going for that 7 minutes, and then just doing that odd fill here and there to pick it up, you know. Oh my gosh. Every time I hear the song, I'm in awe of it. It is a masterpiece. And it's not a masterpiece, you know, where art, you know, it's not like overly arty. It's just stunning music. It just captures your soul. Undoubtedly an S tier track. Never gets old. Never will. What an album. Such a fucking classic. Okay, that is The Doors with Jim Morrison. Ranked. I know Gloria's right there. I'm not counting it. It wasn't a B-side. I don't like it. Just gonna chuck it in there anyway. Who cares? I don't like Gloria. Never have. It's kind of catchy. I remember playing it in my dad's car, and he was like, "Damn, Christian guy, right?" He was like, I lost a bit of respect for them after that because it gets so fucking dirty, dirtier than any of their other tracks. I can see why I didn't make the album. I don't know if it was ever meant to be or if it was kind of a jam, but glad it didn't. Another highlight, Ghost song. Is another one, just, everyone's at the peak of their powers, but particularly Robbie. Yeah. Anyway, I don't really count that, but it's there anyway, who cares? So, what a fucking band. All these songs are great. I love all of them up until Easy Ride. I Looked at You would be my actual bottom. But they're all good. I don't love I Looked at You. I like I Looked at You. I like Soul Kitchen. I like Wintertime Love. I would even say I really like Blue Sunday. Like, that's what we're talking about here. Is that would be the top of the D. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. That would be the top of the D tier, and I really like it. Like, that's not exaggeration. I really like it. So all of this, imagine how I feel about all of this. To me, it's just sensational music, and I love the Doors. Adore the Doors. And anyone who says they're overrated can choke on a fat one. Fuck off. And thank you for listening.